detail 23 responding code 3 from Ventura Mid to Ventura Missile.
Greetings once again. I'm on my daily walk with Charlie. And I want to talk about today. My video message really is directed toward law enforcement and military. So for those of you that are not involved in law enforcement or military, you might still want to pay attention because it's an important topic and it has to do with you too. So it has to do with all of us. Wait, I got to take a picture of this sunset here. And I'll be right back. Never miss an opportunity for a good picture. So I did one of these videos a long time ago, but I want to readdress it. I was just talking to a friend of mine, and it really has to do with, you know, in the event of a very serious civil uprising in this country. Now, many people think that that's totally impossible, but I remind you to take a look at what's going on in the Middle East and in Egypt and in Syria. And while, you know, there's an argument to be said that those people have been fighting each other forever, still, I think it's hard to dispute the fact that we are in some serious turmoil right now. I mean, no matter what your political beliefs are, there's almost 50-50 split on most of these issues. You know, Obama didn't win by a landslide. So anytime you get people with strong opinions and their side wins, they get ecstatic, and the other ones, that means you got another half of the group that feels, you know, slighted or upset. So, excuse me. Let me let the dog off the leash here. Hang on a second. Come here, Charlie. Come here. Wait. Come here. Charlie, wait. Wait. Hang on a second. Okay, go ahead. But I don't know how he handles that. Water's got to be ice cold. But, you know, this is another reminder of the oath that we all took. And I want to get into that a little bit. Not the oath itself, but the concept of, you know, the possibility of actually having to turn your weapons against your fellow Americans. You know, there's plenty of videos out there where there's pleas to honor the oath. You know, to protect all enemies, or protect America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We all took it. Some of us have taken it, you know, multiple times. And I guess my concern, in a nutshell, is that the psychology of law enforcement seems to have changed a little bit, understandably so, as compared to what it was when I was driving around in a black and white. And what I mean by that is, you know, not that long ago. And this is not meant as an affront or in a pejorative way to law enforcement folks. I'm just giving you my opinion. But when I was, you know, a police officer, we had a sense that we were, you know, protecting an area. And in my case, I was working in the projects for a lot of it, and I also worked other divisions. I worked out in Venice, California, and Hollywood division, and our mindset was that we were protecting the good people from the evil people, and I'm sure that you still think that, and that's the majority of cops think that. But I mean, I couldn't help but notice that our law enforcement in general has really become somewhat quasi-military in a lot of respects. Certainly with the equipment and the tactics that have been deployed. I mean, you look at a cop, when I first came on, I had a .38 revolver, I had, you know, 2 extra speed loaders of 6 rounds, and that was it, and a baton, and a radio. You know, nowadays, I mean, you look at some of the departments, some of the larger departments, you know, you almost can't tell them, if you were looking at a black and white picture of them in their daily uniform, they could easily be patrolling the streets of, you know, of Iraq, somewhere in downtown Iraq or somewhere. I mean, so they look military. A lot of the tactics that have changed and a lot of the equipment has become military. And that's a good thing as far as winning a life or death conflict. But where I worry is I wonder if the mindset has not changed. And I'd be interested in your own feedback on this. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but it seems that a lot of the cops, the younger cops of today, have a real us against them mentality. Meaning that it's almost, don't take offense, but almost as if the cops are like an occupying force, in a city. And I wonder how you feel when you get in the car and you head out of the station. Are you going to battle with the citizens in your mind? I mean, I don't expect somebody to come up here and admit that, but, I ask you to think about it yourself. And the reason that's a concern is not only is that clearly not the way to think. I mean, you're there to protect and serve, and then you don't need me to tell you that. But in the event of a total civil breakdown where you've got rioting in the streets or whatever, there are certain things that would have to happen in order to make a major change in this country take place, and one of them would be disarming Americans. And certainly the liberals and the left have been working hard to impose various weapons bans. And I mean, we've got more than a few cities where you can't even own a weapon. Hard to believe, but that's the case. And what I'm wondering is, let's just say it came down to a confiscation type scenario where weapons had to be confiscated. I wonder what the ramifications would be if a bunch of citizens who believed very strongly, as I do, that we have a constitutional right to keep and bear arms, and that right shall not be infringed. And that seems very clear to me, shall not be infringed. If you had a large group of citizens, or even a small group, that refused to turn in their weapons, I mean, the images of Waco come to mind. And I was a cop when that happened, and I've aged a lot. I'm 50 years old now, and I look at that scenario different. I mean, in those days, I was thinking, yeah, get the bad guys. Those guys are breaking the law. Take them down. Looking back on it, man, what a thing for everybody. Women and children, everybody to die over. Some weapons violations. Could have been handled different. I don't want to reopen that investigation, but I guess I'm asking you to ask yourself, if you're a cop and it comes down to it, are you willing to go door to door and strip people of their weapons? Kind of like what happened in New Orleans after Katrina. If you're a warfighter and you are brought into, I mean, I know that we used to have constitutional protection that prohibited active duty military people from deploying on the soil of the U.S. for a mission, a military mission. But, I saw it in New Orleans. I saw the guys come, they still had Iraqi sand on their boots, and they were patrolling the streets of New Orleans. So rules are definitely being broken, bent. That's a concern. If you're somebody that believes in this country and the Constitution like I do, that should really concern you. So if you have the authority, if you're the muscle behind the government, which, I'm not an anti-government guy at all, but, I would have to be a blind idiot to not realize that the government is comprised of human beings, and the group of people that are running it now, I think, are completely, they're like the complete opposite of those who care about the Constitution. I think the Constitution is a major speed bump to them in terms of where they want this country to go. So one of the ways to relieve the pressure of that would be to confiscate weapons, make them illegal, and then God forbid someday there's a notice out that you have to go out and collect all the guns in your area. Maybe, like I said before, maybe there'll be something come over the TV that you have 3 days to turn in your weapons to the local police department. And if you don't, you'll be in violation of a felony. I mean, certainly there's a lot of folks that aren't going to comply, and I just wonder, I mean, have you guys thought about that? I mean, have you envisioned, sighting in on American citizens whose crime is that they don't want to give up their weapons because they believe as everybody should believe, that we have a constitutional right to keep those weapons. So I wonder, to sum this video up, I wonder if you've given it thought, and if not, what do you think about it? If so, what do you think about it? Am I totally off base? I mean, I know it'd be an extreme situation to have a whole bunch of cops that refuse to follow orders, but I remind you too that, you know, in the Nuremberg trials, following orders was not an acceptable defense, and it shouldn't be. Remember, your orders are to be followed if they're lawful orders, and I gotta believe, and I do believe, that disarming American citizens simply because the government doesn't want you to have weapons is not a lawful order. So I wonder, you know, if I could get some feedback from some military folks or law enforcement and you know, veterans and just regular people, citizens, and see what, well, let's discuss this and see what's going on. I want to know how the rest of you think. And in the meantime, you guys stay safe, take care, and I'm out of here.